We all count on the internet to be there for us. It has to be fast, it has to be reliable, it pretty much has to be always on. And for the most part, it is. But behind that incredible strength, there's a hidden story, a really surprising weakness that's been growing right under our noses. This is what we call the resilience paradox. Let's start with a number, $5,600. This is the number that keeps CEOs and engineers up at night. According to the research firm Gartner, that's the average cost of IT downtime. Not per day, not per hour, per minute. That's well over 300 grand an hour. It's a really powerful reminder of just how crucial a stable internet is for pretty much everyone.
So yeah, when online services go down, the damage isn't just financial, right? It hammers a company's reputation, it wears away at customer trust, and honestly, it can mess up the day for millions of people. So the pressure to stop these failures from ever happening is, well, it's immense. And that pressure forced engineers to start thinking in a whole new way.
They basically shifted their whole mindset. Instead of just building for speed, they started building for resilience. The goal wasn't just to prevent failures anymore, but to build systems that could handle them gracefully when they inevitably happened. The main idea was this: a system has to keep running even when parts of it break down. And wow, the results were just staggering. Companies that really invested in this resilient design saw a massive drop in both downtime and cost. I mean, this wasn't just some small technical fix. It was a huge financial and operational win. We're talking about saving some businesses millions of dollars every single year.
So how'd they do it? How do you actually build an internet that can just shrug off failures? Well, it involves some incredibly clever and pretty complex architecture. And this right here is a perfect example of one of the key strategies. Instead of putting all your eggs in one basket, you spread them out. This is what's called a multi-region architecture. So if the servers in, say, region A go down because of a power outage or storm, the traffic just automatically flips over to region B. And for you, the user, you never even notice. The service never skips a beat.
Now, the real pioneers of these techniques were the companies who had the most to lose from any downtime. We're talking giants like Netflix and Amazon. They didn't just build these super resilient systems, they actively tried to break them. They used this radical practice called chaos engineering.
It sounds completely crazy, right? Intentionally causing failures in your own system? But it's actually brilliant. By simulating things like server crashes or network slowdowns in a controlled way, engineers can find all the hidden weak spots and fix them before they cause a real, catastrophic outage for customers.
So, these powerful resilience techniques, they became the foundation for a whole new breed of company. These companies specialized in delivering content quickly and reliably, all over the globe. They're called Content Delivery Networks, or CDNs.
And in this space, three giants really came to dominate. You've got Amazon's CloudFront, which is the obvious choice for any team already deep inside the huge AWS ecosystem. Then there's Cloudflare. They're kind of the agile favorite for startups, known for their obsession with speed and security. And finally, Akamai, the original pioneer, trusted by the world's biggest companies for its incredible global reach and reliability.
And thanks to all this innovation, resilient architecture, chaos engineering, these powerful CDNs, the problem seems totally solved. The internet has become this fortress of reliability. Mission accomplished. But this is where our story takes a sharp and really unexpected turn. See, the original dream of the internet was this distributed, decentralized network with no single point of control. And with all this talk of multi-region redundancy and failovers, it should be stronger than it's ever been. But is it? The data tells a pretty surprising story. Let's start with DNS. Think of it as the internet's address book. It's what lets your browser actually find a website. Well, for the world's most popular sites, it turns out that just two companies, Amazon and Cloudflare, handle the DNS for over a third of them. That is a huge concentration of a critical function. And it's not just the address book. What about the websites themselves, where the actual content is? This trend of consolidation is even more obvious here. For the top 10,000 websites, a tiny group of just 5 providers hosts the main page for over 60% of them.
And here they are. The same names we saw providing all that resilience are now the gatekeepers for a massive chunk of the web's core infrastructure. A handful of companies are now absolutely critical to the daily functioning of the entire global internet.
So here's the crucial point. Our relentless chase for perfect uptime and resilience. It's led us to a really strange and kind of dangerous paradox.
And look, this isn't a what-if scenario. It's already happened. Back in 2016,
A single attack on one DNS provider called Dyn took down a huge piece of the internet. Just look at these names: Netflix, Reddit, CNN. They all went dark because they were all leaning on the same critical piece of infrastructure.
And that, right there, is the resilience paradox. In our effort to get rid of single points of failure inside our own apps, we outsourced our resilience to a few massive companies, who have now become single points of failure for the entire internet.
The risks here go way beyond just technical outages. I mean, think about it. When so much of the internet flows through so few companies, they become these powerful choke points. This creates central hubs for controlling online speech, and it turns these companies into what researchers call attractive surveillance targets for governments and attackers alike.
So, after this whole journey, from a fragile internet to a resilient one, and now to a consolidated one, what should we take away from all this?
Well, the story basically went like this. We had a problem, a fragile internet that was costing a fortune. We found a solution: build these amazing, resilient systems on top of a few huge cloud providers. But that very solution created a new, maybe even bigger problem. It concentrated the internet's foundation into just a few hands, making the whole system vulnerable in a completely new way. So, we've built a stronger, faster, more reliable internet than ever before. There's no doubt about that. But we really have to ask ourselves, is that strength real, or is it an illusion of resilience balanced precariously on the shoulders of just a handful of giants?